The council chamber was silent. Admiral Vex stood at the center of the great hall, her insect-like body trembling. Around her, representatives from 100 worlds watched the screens with growing horror. The footage showed nothing but darkness and bubbles, then a flash of light, then screaming that cut off too quickly. This was the Krath Empire's 5th battle group, Vex said, her voice clicking through the translator. 700 ships, 40,000 soldiers. They entered the abyssal systems 3 months ago. She paused, her antennae drooping. This is all that remains. The screen changed. It showed pieces of metal floating in dark water, twisted hull fragments, a helmet with claw marks scored deep into the metal, something large and pale moving in the background, too quick to see clearly. The abyssal systems, 7 planets all covered in water, deep water, dark water, water that crushed metal like paper and hid things that the galaxy had learned to fear. For 3,000 years, every species had agreed on one thing: stay away from those worlds. The Krath had not listened. They were a proud race, built like giant insects with thick shells and many legs. They conquered 40 systems in the last century. They thought water worlds would be easy. No cities to bomb, no armies to fight, just empty oceans waiting to be claimed. They were wrong. Collector Prime floated forward. The ancient being was made of gas and light, contained in a force field that glowed soft blue. It had lived for 1,000 years and seen empires rise and fall. Its voice was like wind through caves. The abyssal systems are forbidden, it said. We mark them as death worlds. No ship may enter. Let the Krath learn from their mistake. Let the oceans keep what they have taken. The other council members agreed. Heads nodded, tentacles waved, crystals chimed in harmony. Everyone understood. Water was dangerous. Water hid predators. Water killed the unwary. Better to leave those worlds alone and never speak of them again. The great doors opened. A human walked in. She was late, as humans often were. Her hair was gray like storm clouds. Her eyes were the color of deep ocean water. She wore simple clothes and walked with the rolling gait of someone who spent time on ships. Behind her, 2 younger humans carried data pads and recording equipment. Apologies for the delay, she said in clear galactic common. Our vessel had engine trouble. We came as fast as we could. Admiral Vex turned to face the human. You have missed the discussion. The matter is settled. The abyssal systems are now under permanent quarantine. The human woman nodded slowly. She looked at the screens, at the wreckage and the darkness. She watched the footage play again. The screaming, the shadows, the crushing pressure readings that climbed higher and higher until the sensors failed. May I see the full survey data? She asked. Vex hesitated, then transmitted the files. The human studied them on her pad. She scrolled through temperature readings, pressure measurements, chemical compositions. She looked at sonar scans of the ocean floors. She examined the few photographs that survived. After several minutes, she looked up. These worlds have life, she said, complex life. The scans show massive organisms, probably intelligent. Yes, Collector Prime said, that is why we leave them alone. They are too dangerous. Dangerous to invaders, the human agreed. But the Krath sent rescue pods. Some might still be alive down there, trapped in the dark, running out of air. She looked around the chamber. We cannot just leave them. A representative from the crystalline Concordat made a sound like breaking glass. Any rescue attempt would be suicide. The pressure alone would crush our ships. The creatures would attack, added a delegate from the thermal colonies. They destroyed an entire fleet. They defended their home, the human said quietly. The Krath invaded. They attacked first. These ocean dwellers fought back. She stepped forward. But they might show mercy to a rescue mission. A mission that comes in peace. Admiral Vex's mandibles clicked in confusion. You propose to enter those waters? To swim in that darkness? Yes. The chamber erupted. Voices rose in a dozen languages. Translators struggled to keep up. Some delegates thought the humans were brave. Most thought they were insane. A few wondered if this was some kind of joke. The human woman waited for silence. When it came, she spoke again. Earth is a water world, she said. Our planet is 70% ocean. We evolved near the water. We learned to swim before we learned to fly. We built boats before we built spaceships. She smiled. Water is not our enemy. It is our home. She pulled up images on the main screen. Earth's oceans, blue and vast. Human children playing in waves. Divers exploring coral reefs. Submarines descending into trenches deeper than mountains were tall. Scientists studying creatures that glowed in the dark and lived where no light reached. We have mapped our ocean floors, she continued. We have touched the deepest parts. We know what lives there. Giant squids, whale songs, creatures that survive in pressure that would kill most species. She looked at Admiral Vex. We are not afraid of deep water. We grew up in it. Collector Prime drifted closer. The pressure in the abyssal systems exceeds anything on Earth, by factors of 10 or more. Then we will build better ships, the human said. We have the technology, submarines that can handle extreme depth, suits that protect divers in the worst conditions, and we have experience that no other species has. She paused. We know how to survive in the ocean. Vex studied the human for a long moment. You truly believe you can rescue the survivors? We believe we must try. And if the creatures attack you, then we will try to communicate, to show them we mean no harm. The human woman's expression was calm but determined. Every species deserves a chance, even the Krath, despite their mistakes. And every intelligent species deserves to be understood, not feared. The council debated for hours. Some argued that any mission was too dangerous. Others said the cost was too high for a handful of Krath lives. A few pointed out that the Krath Empire had made this bed and should lie in it. But in the end, the council agreed. The humans could make their attempt. They would be given coordinates and sensor data, but they would go alone. No other species would risk their ships or their people for this mission. The human woman accepted the terms. As she left the chamber, Admiral Vex approached her. What is your name? Vex asked. Commander Sarah Chen, the human replied, Captain of the Challenger Deep. That is your ship's name? The Challenger Deep? Yes, it is named for the deepest place in Earth's oceans, nearly 11,000 meters down. Sarah smiled. We sent people there over 100 years ago. They came back safely. We have been exploring the deep ever since. Vex's antennae quivered. I do not understand your species. You seek out danger. You swim in crushing darkness. You face creatures that could kill you easily. We do, Sarah agreed, but we also know something that perhaps other species forgot. She looked at the screens, at the dark waters of the abyssal systems. The deep is not empty. It is full of life, full of wonders, and yes, full of danger, but danger and wonder often go together. She turned to leave, then paused. We will bring your people home, Admiral. The Krath survivors, however many are left. That is a promise. Vex watched the human walk away. For the first time in months, she felt something strange, something she had not felt since the fleet disappeared. She felt hope. The council chamber was silent. Admiral Vex stood at the center of the great hall, her insect-like body trembling. Around her, representatives from 100 worlds watched the screens with growing horror. The footage showed nothing but darkness and bubbles, then a flash of light, then screaming that cut off too quickly. This was the Krath Empire's 5th battle group, Vex said, her voice clicking through the translator. 700 ships, 40,000 soldiers. They entered the abyssal systems 3 months ago. She paused, her antennae drooping. This is all that remains. The screen changed. It showed pieces of metal floating in dark water, twisted hull fragments. A helmet with claw marks scored deep into the metal. Something large and pale moving in the background, too quick to see clearly. The abyssal systems. 7 planets all covered in water. Deep water, dark water, water that crushed metal like paper and hid things that the galaxy had learned to fear. For 3,000 years, every species had agreed on one thing: stay away from those worlds. The Krath had not listened. They were a proud race, built like giant insects with thick shells and many legs. They conquered 40 systems in the last century. They thought water worlds would be easy. No cities to bomb, no armies to fight, just empty oceans waiting to be claimed. They were wrong. Collector Prime floated forward. The ancient being was made of gas and light, contained in a force field that glowed soft blue. It had lived for 1,000 years and seen empires rise and fall. Its voice was like wind through caves. The abyssal systems are forbidden, it said. We mark them as death worlds. No ship may enter. Let the Krath learn from their mistake. Let the oceans keep what they have taken. The other council members agreed. Heads nodded, tentacles waved, crystals chimed in harmony. Everyone understood. Water was dangerous. Water hid predators. Water killed the unwary. Better to leave those worlds alone and never speak of them again. The great doors opened. A human walked in. She was late, as humans often were. Her hair was gray like storm clouds. Her eyes were the color of deep ocean water. She wore simple clothes and walked with the rolling gait of someone who spent time on ships. Behind her, 2 younger humans carried data pads and recording equipment. "Apologies for the delay," she said in clear galactic common. "Our vessel had engine trouble. We came as fast as we could." Admiral Vex turned to face the human. "You have missed the discussion. The matter is settled. The abyssal systems are now under permanent quarantine." The human woman nodded slowly. She looked at the screens, at the wreckage in the darkness. She watched the footage play again. The screaming, the shadows, the crushing pressure readings that climbed higher and higher until the sensors failed. "May I see the full survey data?" she asked. Vex hesitated, then transmitted the files. The human studied them on her pad. She scrolled through temperature readings, pressure measurements, chemical compositions. She looked at sonar scans of the ocean floors. She examined the few photographs that survived. After several minutes, she looked up. "These worlds have life," she said. "Complex life. The scans show massive organisms, probably intelligent." "Yes," Collector Prime said. "That is why we leave them alone. They are too dangerous." "Dangerous to invaders," the human agreed, "but the Krath sent rescue pods. Some might still be alive down there, trapped in the dark, running out of air." She looked around the chamber. "We cannot just leave them." A representative from the crystalline concordat made a sound like breaking glass. "Any rescue attempt would be suicide. The pressure alone would crush our ships." "The creatures would attack," added a delegate from the thermal colonies. "They destroyed an entire fleet. They defended their home," the human said quietly. "The Krath invaded. They attacked first. These ocean dwellers fought back." She stepped forward. "But they might show mercy to a rescue mission, a mission that comes in peace." Admiral Vex's mandibles clicked in confusion. "You propose to enter those waters? To swim in that darkness?" "Yes." The chamber erupted. Voices rose in a dozen languages. Translators struggled to keep up. Some delegates thought the humans were brave. Most thought they were insane. A few wondered if this was some kind of joke. The human woman waited for silence. When it came, she spoke again. "Earth is a water world," she said. "Our planet is 70% ocean. We evolved near the water. We learned to swim before we learned to fly. We built boats before we built spaceships." She smiled. "Water is not our enemy. It is our home." She pulled up images on the main screen. Earth's oceans, blue and vast. Human children playing in waves. Divers exploring coral reefs. Submarines descending into trenches deeper than mountains were tall. Scientists studying creatures that glowed in the dark and lived where no light reached. We have mapped our ocean floors, she continued. We have touched the deepest parts. We know what lives there. Giant squids, whale songs, creatures that survive in pressure that would kill most species. She looked at Admiral Vex. We are not afraid of deep water. We grew up in it. Collector Prime drifted closer. The pressure in the abyssal systems exceeds anything on Earth, by factors of 10 or more. Then we will build better ships, the human said. We have the technology, submarines that can handle extreme depth, suits that protect divers in the worst conditions. And we have experience that no other species has. She paused. We know how to survive in the ocean. Vex studied the human for a long moment. You truly believe you can rescue the survivors? We believe we must try. And if the creatures attack you, then we will try to communicate, to show them we mean no harm. The human woman's expression was calm but determined. Every species deserves a chance, even the Krath, despite their mistakes. And every intelligent species deserves to be understood, not feared. The council debated for hours. Some argued that any mission was too dangerous. Others said the cost was too high for a handful of Krath lives. A few pointed out that the Krath Empire had made this bed and should lie in it. But in the end, the council agreed. The humans could make their attempt. They would be given coordinates and sensor data, but they would go alone. No other species would risk their ships or their people for this mission. The human woman accepted the terms. As she left the chamber, Admiral Vex approached her. What is your name? Vex asked. Commander Sarah Chen, the human replied, Captain of the Challenger Deep. That is your ship's name? The Challenger Deep? Yes, it is named for the deepest place in Earth's oceans, nearly 11,000 meters down. Sarah smiled. We sent people there over 100 years ago. They came back safely. We have been exploring the deep ever since. Vex's antennae quivered. I do not understand your species. You seek out danger. You swim in crushing darkness. You face creatures that could kill you easily. We do, Sarah agreed, but we also know something that perhaps other species forgot. She looked at the screens, at the dark waters of the abyssal systems. The deep is not empty. It is full of life, full of wonders, and yes, full of danger. But danger and wonder often go together. She turned to leave, then paused. We will bring your people home, Admiral, the Krath survivors, however many are left. That is a promise. Vex watched the human walk away. For the first time in months, she felt something strange, something she had not felt since the fleet disappeared. She felt hope. The Challenger Deep did not return to orbit immediately. Captain Torres made a decision that surprised the Council observers. He ordered the ship to remain in the deep water, moving slowly through the abyss while his crew studied the creatures who lived there. Dr. Anna Silva spent hours at the observation windows. She watched the massive beings glide through the darkness like ghosts made of light. They were beautiful in a way that made her chest ache. In all her years studying Earth's oceans, she had never seen anything like this. They are watching us too, said David, the communications officer. Every time we change depth or direction, they adjust to follow, like they are curious. Or making sure we leave, suggested Lisa Park from her navigation station. No, Anna said softly. If they wanted us gone, we would be gone. They destroyed an entire Krath fleet. Our ship would be easy. She turned to Torres. Captain, request permission to attempt direct communication. Torres frowned. We already played the whale songs. They responded, but we have no idea what they said. I know, but I want to try something different, something more personal. Anna looked at the rescued Krath huddled in the corner of the command center. Click Thax watched her with his large compound eyes. I want to go out there. Just me. No weapons, no aggressive posture. I want to show them we are not a threat. That is insane, Lisa said. You saw what they did to the Krath ships. The Krath came with warships and weapons, Anna replied. They attacked first. These beings defended themselves. She looked at Torres. Let me try. If they wanted to kill us, they have had plenty of chances. They are intelligent. I can feel it. They are waiting to see what we will do. Torres considered this. Every instinct told him to protect his crew, but he also trusted Anna's experience. She had made first contact with 3 new species of intelligent sea life on Earth. She understood ocean dwellers better than anyone he knew. All right, he said finally, but you take a tether, and at the first sign of aggression, we pull you back immediately. Anna suited up quickly. This time she added nothing extra, no tools, no equipment, just her suit and her courage. As she stood in the airlock, Torres stopped her. Anna, be careful. We cannot lose you. She smiled. I have been swimming with things that could kill me since I was 5 years old. Sharks, orcas, giant squid. You learn to read them, to understand when they are curious versus when they are hunting. She tapped her helmet. These creatures, they are curious. The airlock flooded. Anna swam out into the open water. She kept her movements slow and deliberate, non-threatening. She swam away from the ship, out into the darkness where the creatures circled. Inside the ship, the crew watched with held breath. The Krath survivors watched too, amazed at this human's bravery or foolishness. One of the massive beings approached. Up close, Anna could see details impossible to see from the ship. Its scales were not just glowing. They were covered in patterns that looked almost like writing, runes or symbols that pulsed with bioluminescent light. Its eyes were enormous, intelligent, ancient beyond measure. Anna did something that went against all training. She turned off her helmet light. In the absolute darkness of the deep, she hung suspended, trusting the creature, showing vulnerability. For several heartbeats, nothing happened. Then the creature moved closer. Its body created currents that pushed and pulled at Anna. She let herself drift with the motion, not fighting. The creature circled her once, twice, 3 times, examining her. Then it stopped directly in front of her. Anna reached out slowly with both hands. She placed her palms on the creature's hide. It was rough with scars, burns from plasma weapons, cuts from metal shrapnel. This being had fought the Krath, had watched its home invaded, had lost others of its kind to violence. Anna felt tears on her face inside her helmet. She opened her suit's external speakers and began to sing. Not a lullaby this time, something older. A song her grandmother taught her from the Pacific Islands. A song about respect for the ocean, about asking permission to enter the water, about thanking the sea for its gifts and its mercy. Her voice carried through the water, changed by the medium, but still recognizable as music, as emotion, as one living being reaching out to another. The creature responded. Its entire body vibrated with sound, frequencies so low that Anna felt them in her bones rather than heard them. Her suit's computer tried to translate, but the language was too complex, too old. Instead, Anna simply listened and felt. Images formed in her mind, not words but concepts, memories shared through sound and vibration. She saw the Krath fleet arriving, saw weapons fire into the water without warning, saw death in pain and rage, saw the ocean dwellers respond, dragging the metal invaders down into crushing depths. But there were other images too, older memories, other ships that came long ago, other aliens who tried to take what was not theirs. And before that, times of peace, times when the waters were clear and life flourished without fear. The creature was showing her history, explaining why they attacked. Not because they were mindless monsters, but because they were protectors, guardians of these ancient oceans and all the life within them. Anna sent her own thoughts back, not words but feelings and images from her own memory. Earth's oceans, swimming as a child in clear blue water, learning to respect the sea, seeing pollution and overfishing damage her home waters, fighting to protect what remained, the sadness of loss, the hope of restoration. She showed the creature the rescue, the saved Krath soldiers. She tried to explain that not all beings who came from space were invaders. Some, like humans, understood the ocean, respected it, wanted to learn from it, not conquer it. The creature considered this. Its bioluminescent patterns changed, pulsing in new rhythms. More creatures approached, drawn by the communication. Soon Anna was surrounded by dozens of them, all sizes, all watching her with ancient, intelligent eyes. One creature, larger than the others and covered in more scars, came forward. Anna sensed this was a leader, an elder. It examined her closely, then made sounds that her suit's computer finally managed to partially translate. The shells that burn came with fire and death. You come with songs and empty hands. Why do you help those who brought destruction? Anna spoke out loud, knowing her suit would carry the words. Because they made a mistake. A terrible mistake. But some of them did not choose to invade. They just followed orders. They deserve a chance to learn, to understand, to do better. And your kind? You claim to understand the water, to respect it. How do we know you speak truth? You don't, Anna admitted. Not yet. But I offer you this. Let me show you our world, Earth. Let me show you how we live with our oceans, how we protect them, how we fail sometimes but keep trying. She paused. And in return, teach us about your worlds. Help us understand so that others will not make the Krath's mistake again. The elder creature was silent for a long time. Then it turned to the others, and they communicated in frequencies and patterns too complex for Anna's equipment to follow. It seemed to be consulting them, asking their opinion. This was not a dictator making choices alone. This was a community deciding together. Finally, the elder turned back to Anna. You speak of protection and learning, but your kind makes war, destroys worlds. We have seen it in the memories of the shells that burn. Your species fights and kills. Yes, Anna said honestly. We do. We have wars. We make mistakes. We hurt each other and hurt our world. She took a breath. But we also love. We create. We protect. We learn. And when we realize we have done wrong, many of us try to make it right. She gestured to the rescued Krath. We did not have to save them, but we did, because life matters. All life, even those who were our enemies. The elder made a sound like thunder rolling through water. You are strange beings, soft and small, yet you swim in our depths without fear. You touch us with empty hands. You sing songs of respect. It paused. We will show you what the shells that burn did, what they unleashed on our worlds. If you still offer friendship after seeing this, perhaps your words are true. I accept, Anna said. Show me everything. The elder gestured with one massive fin. Return to your shell vessel. We will guide you to the poison waters. You will see, you will understand, and then you will choose. Anna swam back to the Challenger deep. As she entered the airlock, her hands were shaking. Not from fear, but from awe. She had made contact, real contact, with beings older than human civilization, with intelligence that saw the universe in ways completely different from any spacefaring species. Inside the ship, the crew rushed to her. Torres gripped her shoulder. Anna, what happened out there? We saw you surrounded. We were seconds from pulling you back. They talked to me, she said, her voice full of wonder. Actually communicated. Captain, they are not animals. They are people. Ancient people who have lived in these oceans for millions of years. And they have agreed to show us something important. What? The damage the Krath did. They said there are poison waters, dead zones. They want us to see what happens when invaders come with weapons instead of respect. Clickfax stepped forward, his mandibles clicking nervously. Through his translator, he said, My people used chemical weapons. It is in our battle reports. We deployed them on 3 worlds to clear the water of dangerous creatures. He looked down. We did not know they were intelligent. We did not think to check. We just wanted to make the world safe for colonization. Anna felt sick. Chemical weapons, designed to kill everything in the water, used against intelligent beings defending their homes. They want us to see, she said quietly. They want us to witness what was done. And then they will decide if humans can be trusted. Torres nodded slowly. Then we go, we see, and we face the truth. He turned to his crew. Prepare for extended dive. We follow the creatures wherever they lead. The Challenger deep began to move, guided by the massive beings of the deep. They traveled for hours through trenches and over underwater mountains. The creatures led them through paths only they knew, places where currents ran strange and pressure changed without warning. Finally, they arrived at Abyss 2, one of the 3 poisoned worlds. Even before the ship descended, the sensors showed the problem. The water chemistry was wrong. Toxins registered at dangerous levels. This ocean was dying. As they went deeper, the truth became visible. There were no glowing creatures here, no life at all, just dead water and the ghostly remains of ecosystems that once thrived. Coral-like structures bleached white, fields of something that might have been kelp, now rotting into sludge. The ocean floor covered in bodies of creatures great and small, killed by poison they could not see or avoid. Anna stood at the observation window and wept. The crew stood with her, silent and horrified. Even the craft's survivors looked away, their antennae drooping with shame. This was not war. This was genocide. This was the attempted murder of an entire world's worth of life. The elder creature appeared outside the window. Its patterns pulsed slow and sad. Through the ship's speakers, its translated voice said, 3 worlds like this, billions dead, trillions of lives ended because we were called monsters, called dangerous. A long pause. Are we monsters, or were we defending our children? Torres activated the external speakers. You were defending your home, and those who did this were wrong, completely wrong. On behalf of my species, I apologize. We will help, however we can. We will help make this right. Can you bring back the dead? The elder asked. Can you restore what is lost? No, Torres admitted, but we can try to heal what remains. We have technology, knowledge. We can clean the poison. We can help life return, if you will let us, if you will teach us what you need. The elder creature floated in the dead water for a long moment. Then it made a sound that needed no translation. It was the sound of grief, deep and old and terrible. Show us, it said finally. Show us your heart is true. Begin the healing. Prove that not all who come from the sky bring only death. Captain Torres gathered his senior staff in the conference room. On the screens around them, images of the dead ocean played on loop. Poisoned water, lifeless depths, an entire world's ecosystem murdered by weapons designed to clear the way for invasion. Options, Torres said simply. Dr. Anna Silva pulled up data on her tablet. The toxins are complex, military-grade bioweapons specifically designed to target water-based life. They break down cellular structures, poison the water chemistry, and leave nothing alive. She looked grim. The Krath knew what they were doing. This was not an accident. Can we clean it? Torres asked. Maybe. Earth has dealt with ocean pollution for centuries. We have organisms designed to eat toxins, bacteria that can break down almost anything, kelp variants that filter water. But this? She gestured at the screens. This is on a planetary scale. It would take years, decades, maybe longer. Then we start, Torres said. Even if it takes decades, we start now. Lisa Park, the navigator, spoke up. Captain, this is not our mission. We were sent to rescue survivors. We did that. The Council expects us to return. The Council can wait, Torres replied. He looked around at his crew. We are humans. We come from a water world. We know what it means when oceans die. We have seen it on Earth. We spent centuries fixing our mistakes, cleaning our seas, bringing life back to dead zones. He stood. These beings trusted us enough to show us this horror. We owe them more than just words. We owe them action. The crew was silent for a moment. Then David, the communications officer, nodded. I am in. My family works in reef restoration on Earth. I know the techniques. I can help. One by one, the others agreed. Engineers, biologists, technicians. Every crew member volunteered to stay and help, even knowing it would delay their return home by months or years. Torres turned to Click Thax and the other craft survivors. This is your people's doing. What do you have to say? Click Thax trembled. His mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of deep distress in his species. I am a soldier. I follow orders, but I see now my orders were evil. My leaders were wrong. He looked at the dead ocean. If you allow it, I will help. I will work to undo some small part of what my people did. And face punishment from your empire for betraying them? If that is the price, I pay it, Click-Thax said quietly. Some things matter more than following orders. Torres nodded with respect. All right then, let's get to work. The Challenger Deep became a floating research station. The crew deployed every piece of equipment they had. Drones descended into the poisoned water, taking samples every 100 meters. Sensors mapped the dead zones. Computers analyzed the toxin composition. Anna worked 18-hour days in the ship's laboratory. She had brought samples of Earth organisms in stasis, extremophile bacteria that could survive in any environment, genetic templates for modified kelp, coral seedlings designed to thrive in harsh conditions. All of it developed over centuries of Earth's environmental recovery efforts. The problem is scale, she explained to Torres as they studied the data. On Earth, we clean bays and coastlines, maybe a whole sea if we were lucky. This is an entire planet, every drop of water contaminated. Then we need more than what we brought, Torres said. We need help. He opened a channel to the Council observers still in orbit. Admiral Vex appeared on screen, her antennae quivering with confusion. Captain Torres, we expected your departure days ago. Why do you remain in the deep? Because we have work to do, Torres replied. Admiral, I am sending you data on what we found. The Krath chemical weapons, the damage to 3 worlds. We are talking about genocide on a scale the galaxy has not seen in centuries. He transmitted the files. They watched Vex's expression change as she reviewed the information. Horror, disgust, shame for what one council species had done to another. This is terrible, she whispered. But what can be done? The damage is beyond repair. No, Torres said firmly. It is not. It will be hard. It will take time, but it can be done. Earth spent 3 centuries cleaning our oceans after we nearly destroyed them. We learned how. We developed the tools, and we are offering those tools now to help these worlds. What do you need? Ships, supplies, scientists who specialize in water ecology. And I need you to convince the Council to make this a priority. This is not just about fixing a mistake. This is about showing the galaxy that we can do better, that we can heal instead of just harm. Vex was quiet for a long moment. I will take your request to the Council, but I cannot promise they will approve. The cost will be enormous. The cost of doing nothing is greater, Torres said. These beings, the ocean dwellers, they are intelligent. They are people, Admiral. The galaxy ignored them because they live underwater, because we did not think to look beneath the surface. How many other species have we missed? How many other worlds have we dismissed as empty when they were actually full of life? Vex had no answer to that. While they waited for the Council's response, the crew worked with what they had. Anna released her modified bacteria into the water. Trillions of microscopic organisms designed to eat toxins and convert them into harmless compounds. They would reproduce quickly, spread across the ocean, and begin the slow work of purification. The engineers deployed kelp seedlings, genetically modified plants that could filter water while providing food and habitat for any life that remained. They anchored the kelp to the ocean floor in strategic locations where currents would spread its seeds across the dead zones. David worked on a different problem: communication. The ocean dwellers spoke in complex harmonics, bioluminescence, and pressure waves. He built new equipment to better translate their language. Slowly, patterns emerged, words became clear, concepts translated into something humans could understand. The elder creature, who the humans learned was called Depth Singer, visited often. It watched the humans work with curiosity and growing hope. Through David's improved translators, they could have real conversations now. "Your kind is strange," Depth Singer said one day, as Anna deployed another batch of bacteria. "You swim in our waters like you belong here. You understand the deep in ways the shells that burn never did. Why?" Anna thought about how to answer. "My world, Earth, is mostly ocean. We evolved near the water. Our ancestors lived by the sea, caught fish, sailed across great distances. Water shaped us, taught us. We learned to respect it because it could kill us so easily, but it also gave us life. You speak of the water as a living thing. In a way it is, not conscious like you or me, but connected. Everything in the ocean depends on everything else. Kill one part and the rest suffers. Heal one part and the rest benefits." She smiled. "We learned that the hard way. We poisoned our own oceans once, made them sick with pollution and overfishing. It took us centuries to fix our mistakes. We are still fixing them." Depth Singer made a sound like waves on stone. "So you understand. You have felt the grief of watching your waters die." "Yes, and the joy of watching them come back to life. It is slow. It is hard, but it is possible. I promise you, Depth Singer, life will return to these waters. Maybe not in my lifetime, maybe not for generations, but it will return." "How can you be certain?" "Because life is stubborn," Anna said. "It fights to survive. It adapts. It finds ways to thrive even in the worst conditions. Earth's oceans teach us that. No matter how badly we damage them, life comes back if we give it a chance." Depth Singer was silent for a long time. Then it said something that surprised Anna. "We have memory stones, records carved in rock deep beneath the ocean floor. They tell of a time, long ago, when fire fell from the sky. Rocks from space that heated the water to boiling, killed everything in a single day." It paused. "But life came back. Slowly. Over millions of your years, life came back. You speak truth. Life is stubborn." Over the following weeks, more ships arrived. The Council had approved Torres's request, though not without debate. Some species saw it as a waste of resources. Others saw it as an opportunity to show the galaxy that they could make amends for terrible mistakes. Scientists came from a dozen worlds. Most had never worked in water environments before. The humans taught them, showed them how to move in the ocean, how to read currents and pressure, how to respect the power of the deep. The Krath Empire sent a ship as well. Not a warship this time, but a research vessel full of scientists and engineers. They came with data on their weapons, information that would help break down the toxins faster. They came with apologies and offers to work as long as needed to fix what their military had done. Click-Thax greeted his people with both relief and anxiety. He did not know if they would see him as a traitor for working with aliens and helping the creatures his empire tried to destroy. Instead, the lead Krath scientist, an old female named Trace Pattern, embraced him. "You did right," she said. "Our leaders were fools. Many of us protested the invasion. We were ignored. Now we have a chance to make things right. We will not waste it." The work continued. The bacteria spread through the water, eating toxins and reproducing. The kelp grew faster than expected, thriving in the mineral-rich water near the thermal vents. Scientists discovered pockets of surviving life, small organisms that had adapted to the poison. They protected these survivors, helped them spread, used them as the foundation for rebuilding the ecosystem. Depth Singer and the other ocean dwellers helped in ways the scientists did not expect. They knew their waters better than any scanner could show. They guided the ships to places where intervention would do the most good. They found deep caves where some creatures had survived by hiding in pure spring water. They shared knowledge accumulated over millions of years about how the ocean currents flowed and where life was most likely to take root again. Slowly, very slowly, the water began to clear. Toxin levels dropped. The bacteria worked their microscopic magic. New life appeared, small things at first, plankton-like organisms, then larger creatures, things that glowed with their own light in the darkness. Anna stood at the observation window one day, 6 months into the project, and saw something that made her weep with joy. A juvenile version of Depth Singer's species, no larger than her hand, swimming through the new kelp forests. It was hunting tiny creatures that had emerged from the recovering ecosystem. "Life," she whispered. "It is coming back." Depth Singer appeared beside the window. "Because of you. Because your kind understood. Because you helped when you could have simply left." "This is just the beginning," Anna said. "It will take decades to fully restore these worlds. But the process has started. Life has a foothold again." "Why?" Depth Singer asked. "Why spend so much? Why care about our worlds when your kind gains nothing from it?" Anna thought about that. "My grandmother used to say something. She said we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children. Every world is borrowed from the future. Every ocean, every forest, every living thing. We have a duty to pass them on healthy and whole, not just for our own children, but for all children, all species, all life." Depth Singer made a sound that the translators rendered as understanding. "Your kind sees far ahead, thinks of future tides. The shells that burn only thought of today, of conquest and resources. You think of tomorrow and what you leave behind." "We have learned to," Anna said, "the hard way. After making many mistakes, we still make mistakes, but we try. That is all any species can do. Try to do better. Try to leave things better than we found them." "Then we will learn from you," Depth Singer said, "and perhaps one day we will teach you as well. Show you the deep places, the ancient secrets that the ocean keeps. An exchange of knowledge, a partnership between those who swim and those who sail the stars." "I would like that," Anna said softly. Outside the window, more young creatures appeared, swimming through the recovering kelp, hunting and playing and living. The ocean was healing, life was returning, and in the depths, something new was growing. Not just an ecosystem, but a friendship. An alliance between species that should have been impossible, but somehow made perfect sense. Because in the end, whether the ocean was on Earth or an alien world, whether the creatures were human or ancient dwellers of the deep, the same truth held. Life deserved respect. Life deserved protection. And life, when given even the smallest chance, would always find a way to thrive. 8 months after entering the abyssal systems, the Challenger Deep finally returned to the Council Station. But it did not return alone. Following in its wake, protected in a massive, water-filled vessel specially constructed for the journey, came Depth Singer and 2 other ocean dwellers who volunteered to speak for their kind. The council chamber erupted into chaos when the delegation was announced. Species that had avoided water their entire existence now faced the reality of aquatic intelligence. The massive tank was positioned at the center of the hall, giving everyone a clear view of the beings within. Depth Singer's bioluminescent patterns pulsed calmly, but the effect was anything but calming for the assembled representatives. Admiral Vex stood at her podium, mandibles clicking nervously. She had seen the reports, reviewed the data, watched the footage of the Challenger Deep's work over the past months. But seeing the ocean dwellers in person was different, overwhelming. These beings were older than the crystalline Concordat, older than most spacefaring civilizations, and they had been ignored, dismissed as animals, because they lived beneath the waves. Commander Sarah Chen, the human who first proposed the rescue mission, stood to present the delegation's findings. Her gray hair was longer now, pulled back in a simple braid. Her ocean blue eyes were tired but determined. "Honored council members," she began, "8 months ago we descended into the abyssal systems to rescue craft survivors. We succeeded. 17 soldiers were recovered and returned to their empire." She paused. "But we discovered something far more important than a successful rescue. We discovered intelligent life that the galaxy has overlooked for thousands of years." The main screens activated. Footage played of the ocean worlds, the massive creatures moving with grace and purpose, the complex communication patterns, the evidence of culture, of society, of civilization beneath the waves. Then the footage shifted to the poison worlds, the death, the genocide, the chemical weapons deployed without thought or care. The council chamber fell silent. Even species that had seen combat, that had witnessed war, looked away from the images of planetary-scale mass murder. 3 worlds, Sarah continued, trillions of lives, ended because the Krath Empire saw empty oceans and assumed nothing of value lived there. She looked around the chamber. How many times has the galaxy made this mistake? How many worlds have we marked as uninhabited because we only looked at the surface? How many species have we ignored because they do not build cities that can be seen from space? Admiral Vex shifted uncomfortably. She knew the answer. The Council's survey procedures focused on technological signatures, radio waves, heat patterns, structures visible from orbit. If a species did not use technology the Council recognized, they were often overlooked entirely. Sarah activated another display. Captain Torres and his crew spent 8 months working with the ocean dwellers to begin repairing the damage. With help from scientists across the galaxy, including Krath engineers who volunteered to fix their empire's mistakes, we have started the healing process. Toxin levels are dropping, life is returning, but the work is far from complete. It will take decades, perhaps centuries, but it can be done. She stepped aside, gesturing to the water tank. Depth Singer of the Abyssal Systems has agreed to speak. I ask that you listen with open minds and open hearts. The translation system activated, converting Depth Singer's complex harmonics into galactic common. The ancient being's voice filled the chamber, deep and resonant. I am Depth Singer. I have lived in the deep places for 300 of your years. My ancestors have lived in these waters for millions of years. We are not animals. We are not mindless. We are people, as you are people. We think, we feel, we remember, we mourn. The patterns on Depth Singer's hide pulsed in rhythm with the words. When the shells that burn came, we tried to communicate. We sent greetings in sound and light. They responded with weapons. They poisoned our waters, killed our young, destroyed ecosystems that took millions of years to build. A pause. We defended ourselves. We used the ocean's power against them. We dragged their vessels into the crushing deep. We were labeled monsters for protecting our homes. The council members shifted uncomfortably. Some looked ashamed, others defensive. Depth Singer continued. Then the swimmers came, the humans, soft creatures in thin shells who moved through our waters like they were born to them. They did not come with weapons. They came to save the shells that burn who survived, to rescue their enemies. The bioluminescent patterns changed to colors that suggested wonder. We did not understand. Why save those who brought death? The humans said all life deserves a chance. All life matters, even enemies. They showed us their world, Earth, an ocean planet like ours. They showed us their mistakes, how they poisoned their own waters, how they spent centuries fixing what they destroyed. They showed us that making mistakes does not mean you are beyond redemption. It means you must work to do better. Depth Singer's gaze swept across the chamber. If the ancient being had human features, they would have called the expression stern. The galaxy ignored us, dismissed us, marked our worlds as empty and available for conquest. This must never happen again. We demand recognition. We demand rights. We demand that the galaxy acknowledge that life takes many forms, and all of them deserve respect. Sarah stepped forward again, which is why we propose the Abyssal Accords, a new set of guidelines for planetary surveys and first contact. She displayed the document on every screen. Key points include mandatory deep scan surveys of all water worlds before colonization claims, training for first contact specialists in aquatic environments, recognition of ocean-based intelligence as equal to land-based intelligence, and the formation of a joint task force led by humans and ocean dwellers to search for other overlooked aquatic civilizations. A representative from the thermal colonies, beings who lived in molten environments, spoke up. This would require massive changes to existing protocols. The cost would be enormous. The cost of genocide is greater, Sarah replied sharply. How many abyssal systems are out there, waiting to be discovered? How many intelligent species are we currently planning to displace because our scans do not detect them? Collector Prime, the ancient gaseous being, floated forward. The human makes a valid point. Our survey methods were designed by species who live on land or in air. We assumed all intelligence would manifest in ways we recognize. We were wrong. It turned to Depsinger. On behalf of the Council, I apologize. Your people deserved better. The galaxy failed you. Apologies do not restore the dead, Depsinger said, but action can prevent future deaths. We ask for partnership. Teach us about the stars. Let us teach you about the depths. Together we can find others like us who have been overlooked. The debate that followed lasted for hours. Some council members supported the accords immediately. Others worried about the cost, the changes required, the admission that the galaxy had been blind for so long. The Krath delegation, led by Trace Pattern and including Clickfax, argued most strongly in favor. We made a terrible mistake, Trace Pattern said, her translator carrying the weight of her shame. We saw water and thought only of resources. We never considered that intelligence might thrive there. We became monsters without meaning to, simply because we did not think to look beneath the surface. She clicked her mandibles. Let our mistake be the last. Let the Krath Empire's failure teach the galaxy to do better. Clickfax stood beside her. I was a soldier following orders, but I learned that some orders are evil. Some commands must be questioned. I worked alongside humans and ocean dwellers to repair the damage my empire caused. I saw intelligence in the eyes of beings I was trained to kill. His voice grew stronger. The galaxy must change. We must see all life as worthy of respect, not just the life that looks like us or thinks like us. All life. Finally, after hours of debate, the vote was called. The Abyssal Accords passed with a strong majority. Not unanimous, but enough. The galaxy would change how it explored, how it claimed new worlds, how it defined intelligence. Depth Singer's patterns pulsed with colors that suggested satisfaction. This is good. This is the beginning of healing. The ancient being turned to Sarah. The swimmers have our gratitude and our friendship. We offer knowledge in return. The secrets of the deep places, navigation through impossible currents, and the locations of other ocean worlds we have sensed through water that spans the stars. Sarah smiled. We accept, and we offer our own knowledge in return. Humanity has learned much about living in water and space. We will share freely. As the council session ended, Sarah found Captain Torres waiting outside the chamber. He had been watching the proceedings from observation. Behind him stood Dr. Anna Silva and the rest of the Challenger Deep crew. We did it, Anna said softly. We actually did it. We started it, Torres corrected. The real work begins now. Training programs for aquatic contact, survey missions to water worlds, building relationships with the ocean dwellers. This is just the first step. Sarah nodded. I have been thinking about that. The Council approved funding for an aquatic diplomatic corps. Someone needs to lead it. Someone with experience in both space operations and ocean environments. She looked at Torres. Interested in a promotion, Captain? Torres laughed. Are you offering me a desk job? I am offering you a fleet, Sarah replied. 20 ships, purpose-built for waterworld exploration and contact. Crews drawn from every aquatic species we can find, including humans and ocean dwellers working side by side. Your mission will be to find every intelligent aquatic civilization in the galaxy and make sure what happened to the abyssal systems never happens again. Torres considered this. A desk job would have been boring, but a fleet, a mission to explore and protect, that was different. That was worth doing. I accept, he said, on one condition. Anna comes as Chief Science Officer, David as Head of Communications. The Challenger Deep crew stays together. Done, Sarah agreed. 6 months later, the first vessels of the Aquatic Diplomatic Corps launched from Earth. They were beautiful ships, designed by humans and ocean dwellers working together. Sleek hulls that could transition seamlessly from space to deep water. Hybrid crews who understood both environments. State-of-the-art sensors designed to detect all forms of intelligence, not just the ones that built radio towers. The flagship was named Depth Singer's Promise, a tribute to the being who trusted humans enough to risk speaking to the galaxy. Torres stood on the bridge as the ship made its first jump to hyperspace. Their destination was a water world at the edge of explored space. Initial scans suggested massive life forms in the depths, possibly intelligent, possibly another overlooked civilization waiting to be discovered. Anna stood beside him at the observation window. Ready for another deep dive? She asked. Torres smiled. Always. That is what we do. We dive into the unknown. We reach out to those who are different. We try to understand instead of fear. He looked at the stars streaming past. Earth taught us that. Our oceans taught us humility and respect. Now we share those lessons with the galaxy. Behind them, a young ensign monitoring communication spoke up. Captain, we are receiving a signal from the abyssal systems. Depth Singer wishes to speak with you. Torres activated the comm. The translation came through clearly now, thanks to David's improvements. Depth Singer, good to hear from you. Swimmer Captain, the ancient being replied. We detected your departure. We wish to say something before you journey too far. What is it? Thank you for seeing us, for hearing us, for teaching the galaxy that the ocean holds life worth protecting. A pause. And know this, wherever you swim, in whatever deep places you explore, you carry our friendship with you. If you find others like us, tell them they are not alone. Tell them the swimmers of Earth speak for the ocean dwellers. Tell them the galaxy is learning to look beneath the surface. Torres felt his throat tighten with emotion. I will. That is a promise. The transmission ended. The Depth Singer's promise continued its journey toward unknown waters. Behind it, in the abyssal systems, life continued to grow and thrive. The poisoned oceans slowly healed. Young creatures swam through recovering kelp forests. The ancient dwellers taught their young about the day the swimmers came and changed everything. And across the galaxy, survey teams began their new protocols. They looked more carefully, scanned deeper, listened harder. They found 3 new aquatic civilizations in the first year alone. All of them welcomed the contact. All of them grateful to finally be seen, to finally be heard. On Earth, recruitment centers for the Aquatic Diplomatic Corps had waiting lists thousands of names long. People who grew up swimming wanted to bring that skill to the stars. Children who loved the ocean dreamed of diving on alien worlds. Humanity, the species that learned to respect water after nearly destroying their own, became the galaxy's bridge between land and sea, between air and depths. The tide had turned. The galaxy would never be the same. And somewhere in the deep places, ancient beings sang songs of hope and partnership. The ocean, whether on Earth or scattered among the stars, had found its voice, and the universe was listening at last. In the end, the humans did not conquer the water worlds. They did not need to. They simply did what came naturally to a species born beside the sea. They dove in, they listened, they respected, they protected. And in doing so, they showed the galaxy something it had forgotten, that wisdom sometimes means looking beneath the surface, that strength sometimes means admitting you were wrong, that progress sometimes means learning from those who seem different but share the same struggles. The ocean taught humanity these lessons long ago. Now humanity taught them to the stars, and the stars, slowly but surely, learned to swim.